Hey everybody, so we are starting value and shading today. And first I kind of wanted to go over when you buy drawing pencils, they will have, like this was a little set that I have. So you can see the different range of leads. That's what these numbers mean. So 8B would be the softest lead. It's going to make the darkest mark. And then it scrolls down to 2B, all the way down to when you get into the H's, the lead is harder and makes a lighter mark. Fun fact, an HB pencil is actually what a number 2 pencil is. You guys always have to have a number 2 and use a Scantron. Just FYI, it's an HB pencil. So let me show you the difference between the two. So here is the 8B, right? I'm hardly pressing. You can see how dark that is, right? And then the hardest lead I have is a 4H. Right? No matter how hard I try, this will never be as dark as that. You can see the difference. Just the lead itself is harder, and it's meant for a lighter. So this is really good for sketching, right? It is a harder lead, so it will leave mark in your paper. You guys know when you like make a line and you go to erase it and leaves a little dent in your paper? The harder lead will do that, whereas the softer lead will not. So what we're going to do is you guys are going to create a value scale. This is a value scale. So you go from the darkest value, which should be black, or basically the darkest that your lead can go, and then your lightest value is white. So this is your value scale. This is a range of different values that you can create from one pencil. So that's what you guys are going to do. So let me get my paper. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw our scale. Now, you don't need to measure. If you don't have a ruler, you can use, I've showed you before how to fold a piece of paper to be a straight edge. Okay, so what I'm going to do with my ruler is just I'm going to trace it twice. So I drew that line, put a little mark where the bottom is, put it next to it, and draw another line. So this will be my entire value scale. And now when I divide it up, I'm literally just going to lay my ruler down. I'm not going to trace the ruler exactly. So like here's that line I just drew. I'm just going to overlap it a little bit. I don't want them to be that fat. I would rather have more spaces than they're too big. So again, see the line I just drew? I'm putting my ruler next to it and just moving it over just a little bit. So I'm basically making sections that are slightly skinnier than my ruler. Okay, so my lightest value is going to be white, and my darkest value is going to be black. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to get black with this pencil. And then the other thing you want to do is just trace your ruler once down here. Okay, so what we're going to do first is you're going to practice before you actually start doing your value scales. Is you want the darkest to go to the lightest. Don't forget, I taught you guys when you're shading, okay, don't hold your pencil vertically when you're shading. You want to hold it as horizontally as you can, because remember I taught you that as you shade, you're going to wear down the edge of that lead to make a much broader stroke. So let me just start shading here. And this is as dark as my lead goes. I'm pressing pretty hard. And just like I taught you guys, I mean, I've got a cutting mat under my paper, but a couple sheets of paper underneath really help kind of give it a softer edge there. All right, so as I've been shading with that, I have not rotated the pencil in my hand. So see that broad stroke that I'm able to make? Whereas if I rotate it in my hand, now it's making a very sharp edge, right? This is going to be a lot easier to shade with than that. So that's why I was telling you, don't turn the pencil in your hand. Once you've started shading, keep it in that position. Oops. Got something stuck under there. So what I want to do is I'm going to gradually get lighter. Just easing up that pressure just a little bit. And I'm not being as neat as I can. You guys should definitely be neater. because I'm trying to do this fast because I don't want to have to upload a 20,000 minute long video. Now, see how you can start to see where my values are changing? You want to blend that out a lot better. You want it to look completely seamless. So it might just be that you just have to add a couple of layers on top. Now I should really start getting a lot lighter, because remember, my lightest value is white. So I really want to start lightening up. It's important to kind of keep your pencil moving so you don't get all those striations. But this is really just your just kind of getting used to using the pencil to do this. All right. Now I'm going to kind of go back, kind of try and blend that a little bit better. Try and get rid of some of those marks in between. And I think this end could be a little bit darker. So I'm going to press a little bit harder. Try and blend that out just a little bit. But see now, see how fat that stroke is as opposed to, right, that sharpened edge, because I've been shading for a while. So see how nice and seamless that is? The more you practice at this, the better you'll get. And this is the key to shading. No, you do not want to use your finger to smudge this. That's not how it works. You've got to be able to learn how to use the tool, the pencil, and not smudging around graphite with your finger. It looks messy, you can't control it very well, and it's like, you know, what little kids do. Okay? This could probably use a little more work, but for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and kind of move on. Maybe I could do a time-lapse video later. So now what you want to do is a value scale that we created, they're a little more separate. Okay? So you don't have to worry about blending it as nicely, but you do want to make sure that the values are different. So each little box should be lighter. Now, I prefer to start out dark and go to light. It might work better for you to start out light and go to dark. That is completely up to you. That's your business. That's the way you want to do it, right? That's totally fine. As long as it gets done, I don't care if you start with dark and go to white. I really don't care. I'm starting to think that I don't really like this pencil very much, but we're going to work with it. It's almost like I've hit a little weird spot on it. Let me get another pencil. See if this one works better. Yeah, see, I don't know, I hit a little hard spot on that lid, so it wasn't really doing what I wanted it to do. So again, your value scale should be a gradual change where the dark is gradually getting lighter. And again, you are not, I repeat, do not smudge with your finger. You guys think I can't tell when you smudge with your finger, but it's blatantly obvious because it looks like a huge mess. All right, that kind of stuff is great for when you use charcoal or pastel and things like that, but when you're using just graphite, don't smudge with your finger. Learn how to use the tool appropriately. Okay, I think I'm gonna move on to the next one. And as I get lighter, I'm really just easing up on the pressure of my pencil. And notice I'm not turning that pencil around in my hand, right? I'm getting that nice broad stroke edge, right? From going over and over. I'm wearing it down, kind of like how you do with crayons and lipstick and stuff like that. And because it's kind of in layers, it might be easier for you guys to start with, you know, start with white and move up. That's totally fine. Like I said, as long as you get the value scale, it doesn't matter what end you start on. And again, this could be a lot neater. Like, you don't want to see your pencil strokes. Like, that's when you're doing a good job if you don't see your pencil strokes. I'm trying to hurry so I don't make like a ridiculously long video. I'm not being as precise as I should be. But the thing I like about starting from the dark is you can always add on. Like I feel like I'm already getting too light and I've got 2 more spaces to go. So I might go ahead and do my lightest light. And my lightest light is the pencil barely touching the paper. Right? It's just slightly not white. And then a little bit darker. And again, when you go from light to dark, you can kind of sort of add another layer if you see fit. And I have a couple of shading videos I'm going to show you guys too, just to kind of get another perspective of somebody else doing it, which you guys have already told you that, you know, sometimes it's important to have, you know, somebody else explain something to you for whatever reason. You're not getting it that way. I kind of found that I've done a lot of school. Obviously I graduated high school, but I have 3 art degrees, so I've been in a lot of art classes. And I found that sometimes just having another person explain it to me slightly different in their way, and I get it. So that's totally fine to say you don't get something. We'll try and find another way for you to get it, okay? But you got to speak up if you can't get it. Well, this pencil hardly goes very dark at all. Okay, so you see our progress there, our value scale. This one obviously was done with a much darker pencil, which, you know, if you happen to have a set of drawing pencils, go for it. You can use that. This one I think needs a little bit of more work. These are kind of looking kind of similar. So I'll continue to work on it a little bit. I can add a little bit more as I go. I lost my little flat spot. Add a little bit more. Right? You kind of want to hold it away from yourself and look at it and make sure that each box looks different. Okay? So that's the value scale. We're going to do that. And then the next thing I'm going to show you is how to turn a circle into a sphere using the shading. But we're going to do this first. All right? Let's get started.